Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to learn what is an API and how we can do API testing using Postman. Okay. So for today's topic, we have taken API. What is an API? To do API testing, it is very important that you should know what is an API, how API works, what is the architecture of API, what are the protocols used in API. Okay. So in this session, we are going to see like how we can test basically an API. Okay, so at a high level, what is an API? API basically means application programming interface. Let's suppose there are two systems, system A and system B, and if they want to, talk to each other, or if they want to share some information in between system A to system B, so that communication is happen because of API. That communication can happen using an API, means using application programming interface. So in short, what we can say, an API is an interface between two applications that enables them to communicate with each other. Okay, and that can be done using programs. There would be some set of predefined functions and rule that will determine how the communication will take place. Okay, let's suppose if you have a website where you want to book your flight ticket. So what you will do, you will visit any website available in the market like GoIBibo or Make My Trip or Paytm. You can go on any website. There it will ask you few details like what is your source location, what is your destination location, okay, what is the date, okay, how many travelers would be traveling. It will ask some basic details, and once you click on search button or submit button, okay, what it will do, it will basically call APIs of flights provider. Let's suppose there are Indigo or SpiceJet or Air India. There are hell lots of flight options in the market. So it will call those API and it will bring you some data. Okay, for this date, these many flights are available and these many seats are available. So it will give you that kind of information. Once you provide, okay, once you feel that no, I want to book on in SpiceJet or Indigo or Air India or whatever, you will proceed further. It will ask you like what is the passenger name. Okay, it will ask you what is the first name, last name, what is the age of our traveler. Okay, it will ask some of the details. Again, it will process those things, and it will book your ticket. So if you see what is happening, it is taking some data and it is sending to the server. Okay, server means the flight. Let's suppose it is sending data to Indigo, or it is sending data to SpiceJet, or it is sending data to Air India. Like on the basis of your choice, it is taking your data and it is sending those data to flight provider. And again, if they are asking, okay, these are the details I need. Again, you will see those messages on the UI. Like, let's suppose if you have not provided destination location, it will say destination location is missing. So basically, the communication is happening in between, the flight booking app to the flight provider. So there on UI you can see there are some interfaces, but in the back end you will see that two applications are talking to each other using some format, or you're using some protocols. So that is basically an API. And in real life there are so many examples of API. Let's suppose if you are booking a cab from source location to destination location, that the Uber application would be using a Google Map. So Google Map is providing the direction and all. Uber have integrated that API. Okay, this is one of the example. Second example could be if you want to see temperature of America or s- Australia or Canada, you can simply visit some of the website and you can see the temperature. So how those details are coming, or how those data are coming. Again, there are some APIs which are bringing those data. Okay, here at a high level, what you can say for API, there would be one server and there would be some client. So client, let's suppose if you are searching anything on your website or on your browser, so that could be your client, and that browser is bringing some data from the server. So there would be one server and there would be one client, and the communication will happen in between client to server. And practically if you see, it's not so easy. Like communication between server and client is not so easy. Let's suppose I know Hindi or English, and if you're talking in Bangla, or let's suppose in Chinese language, I won't be able to understand what you're saying. Let's suppose if you have visited in a restaurant, you know Hindi, and the waiter is knowing English, and if you're ordering your food or dishes in Hindi language, the waiter will say, sorry, I am not able to understand what you are saying. Okay, so definitely there should be some protocol, to communicate with each other. And let's suppose if you are speaking English, and that waiter also knows how to speak in English, and if you're saying, give me phone number of manager of this hotel, so what that waiter will say, no, I don't have that limitations, or I don't have that provision to provide phone number of my senior manager or whatever. Again, there should be some format, or there should be some protocol, like what kind of data you want. You would be having some kind of permissions, and again the server will also have would be having some limitations, what server can provide you. Okay, so it's like that. Here in this diagram, you can see that there is application 1 and application 2. Application wants some data from application 2. So it will say, okay, I need these details. I'm requesting you give me some details. Okay, application 2 will provide some response. Okay, you are looking for employee details. These are the employee details. So asking for employee details would be the task of application 1. Providing employee details would be task of, this one, application 2. Here you can see application 1 is can be considered as a client, application 2 can be considered as a server. So here communication is happening in between application 1 to application 2. Okay, so again, these are the theoretical things. You can pause your video and you can write it, or you can read it for your reference. Again, I have explained it in the beginning. Like, let's suppose if you want to book a flight ticket from source location to destination location, so it will ask you some details like date or passenger traveler count and age. On the basis of that, it will call some servers, and it will bring those data and it will populate those data on your UI, and you can proceed further. So it is like that. So here, as I said, for any communication, there would be some protocol, there would be some format. Okay, so in if you talk about the protocol, so there are so many protocols. One of the most popular protocol is HTTPS. Like, if you want to provide some data from application 1 to application 2, there should be some protocol. So let's suppose in API, if you're using HTTPS, so it will use that protocol, and application will provide you some data. So it is not, let's suppose if application 2 is providing data in, let's suppose in XYZ format, and if application 1 is not able to understand, so it is of no use, right? So again, to understand those data, application 2 should provide those data into some valid format. So one of the best format available in the market or for API communication is JSON format or XML format. Application 2 will provide those details you to application 1 in the format of JSON, or what you can say XML. There are some other format as well, but the most popular format is XML and JSON format, and the most important protocol is HTTPS. Okay, so here again, you can see that it is saying the protocol is here HTTP, and there is a browser, there is a web server, and response is happening in between this browser and client. Like, some communication is happening in between browser to client. Okay, now talking about the methods of APIs, there are six methods total, but the most popular ones which could be required for your testing is get, post, put, delete. Apart from that, there are some methods like patch or options that we will discuss in later part. But for a automation engineer, it is very important to know these methods: get, post, put, delete. Get, basically, it's like getting details from a server. If you want to do some kind of testing using to you if you want to see some details of employee, so on the basis of those details, if you want to do functional testing, that that will comes under get. You can use get method, bring those data and do your validation. Post means creating new data. Put means updating those data. Let's suppose if you want to create some data, you can use post method. And let's suppose if you want to, create, or if you want to change some data, you have created, let's suppose one user, and some of the fields are missing. After couple of minutes, you feel that address is missing, and if you want to update those, details, you can use put method. For creation, you can use post method. Similarly, if you want to delete some, details, what you can use? Delete method. Okay, so in interview, if anyone is asking what are the main types of methods, you can say get, post, put, delete. Get for getting details, post for creating new data, put for updating some details, delete for deleting the details. Okay, now let's go into postman, and we will see like how to do, you know API testing in postman.